Happy Thursday, hockey fans. What a night in the NHL it was last night. This is Morning Cup of Hockey presented by Betway. If you're going to place a bet, remember to bet on Betway. Please play responsibly, and remember, you must be 19 years of age or older. That's Colby Cohen. I'm Johnny Lazarus. A lot to get into today, but I think we got to start it off with the mayhem in Manhattan, right? What a fucking game that was last night. The one home game I miss all year. Because as you can tell, I'm not in my normal setup in New York. I'm here in Boston for the day. But Colby, I had to listen to the first. Well, I watched it a little bit on my phone as I was sitting in traffic getting to Boston, but I had to listen to the first 10 minutes of that game in the car. So I couldn't really take it all in like you might have. But man, what an electric game at the Garden last night. What'd you think of the opening face-off fights last night?
I mean, look, I have a couple of different opinions of it. I sort of have my hockey fan opinion of it, and then I have my take a step back and really think about it opinion of it all. And then I have my opinion of all the quotes and the comments that came out after. And so I'm going to start with the fact that look, a 5-on-5, like a melee to start the game. I mean, what hockey fan doesn't enjoy that?
Did you know the rule though about the secondary fights? You did?
I didn't know that rule. It's that rule is it's been in for a while now. Which is why you don't see these types of things break out. I would say that I wasn't necessarily expecting it though, because literally they all fought at the same time. I didn't realize that it's okay, whose gloves hit the ice first, literally.
Yeah.
But as soon as they started escorting guys out, I did have an idea of exactly why. And again, having done a bunch of games on the radio and done playoffs and stuff like that, you kind of always have to keep a rule book near you. So you come across stuff like this, even though you don't see it that often, which is why I kind of, know probably a little bit about some of these things. But so the hockey fan in me thought it was great. I mean, everybody was talking about it. I'm sure Madison Square Garden was up on their feet for the people that had got to their seats yet. Jackie Redmond interviewed Mike Rupp and Jody Shelley, and Rupper said he hadn't even got to his seat yet. He was in line getting a beer, getting food or something like that. So I thought that was kind of funny. And so great, 5-on-5 fight. Awesome. Entertainment factor. Great. As I kind of step back from it though, it's a good thing the Rangers won that game, because if they don't win that game, I think it would have been all for nothing, to be honest. I don't think they played great. I don't. I thought Lafreniere seemed to probably be their best player the whole night, him and maybe Panarin. I think Zibanejad was kind of sleepy. I just thought the rest of their team, I thought Wennberg had some pretty good moments in that game as well.
Wennberg was really good, I thought, last night, actually.
Yeah. I thought
he's also just been quietly solid the entire time.
I thought he was pretty involved in the game, but I don't like the idea of putting your defenseman in a situation where they have to play 30 minutes a week before the regular season ends, in a game that really, there was meaning to it for them because they don't want to play Tampa in the first round. So you want to win the East, but it just, I don't think it should have been that hard. And that's where I'm like, is it good for Eric Gustafsson, who hasn't played in a while, to come out and have to play 30 minutes? Is it good for Schneider to play 30 minutes? Fox is the only one used to handling that type of load, probably. And
that's probably the worst for him, because you want him to get rest out of everybody.
You want him to kind of be maybe playing 22 minutes a night right now, kind of getting to the playoffs, right? So again, I loved it. It was awesome. But when you step back and you look at it, thank God they won, because had they lost that game and it was close, it would have been bad. Now you can make the case, Johnny, that it was a rallying cry. And it was a bonding moment. They didn't play well for 60 minutes, right? They found a way to win, which good teams do. And they had this sort of bonding moment where these guys all got kicked out and they stuck up and had Rempe's back. And so that could be a galvanizing type of moment for the team.
Well, that's what I wanted to harp on too, because I don't know if you can remember this far back, but the whole Tom Wilson broke the Rangers narrative a couple of years ago, before they go out and get Ryan Reeves, the Rangers were, this is why I've been saying that Rempe shifted the identity or changed the identity of the Rangers, because you haven't seen this sort of, group coming together and dropping the gloves and having each other's back. It's always just been like one or two guys in the past few years. It's never been, the collective as a group. So that's why I thought this fight was so big for that cohesiveness, like you mentioned. And Keandre Miller specifically, I want to focus on, because a lot of Ranger fans and even hockey fans in general get on Miller, I think, for not being so tough for his body and his frame. He's a little bit softer, but for him to get in his first career fight and do the, little boy, like sit down, like I'm bigger than you.
Listen, John Marino's like half of his size.
Of course. But
I don't think that was a little boy sit down. I think that was like, you don't punch a guy when they're down on the ice. Like,
no, Miller did the taunt. It's like an NBA taunt. Like, you're too little. It's a common thing.
I don't know I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he did a little taunt, but I think like him getting into his first fight, I think that's going to give him a different feel on the ice. And I don't know, I don't see why you think that, because he's not going to continue to fight. No, I'm not saying he's going to be a fighter. But it just takes some sort of fear away from you. If you're not a overly physical player, and maybe you're scared of fighting.
Has he ever had a fight before, like in juniors or anything? Or do you know?
Not that I know of, no.
Because there is like getting your first one. I remember getting my first one out of the way when I was a sophomore playing in Syracuse in a junior A league in the Ontario Provincial League. And I got my first fight out of the way. And I was like, oh, you know what? I was kind of worked up and scared for this. And now it's kind of like, oh, this isn't that bad. There's plenty of ways to protect yourself.
But also, that's something I wanted to touch on too. So John LaFontaine, he was my coach in junior, Pat LaFontaine's brother. And probably like 20 games into my first year junior, he basically told me I was a soft player. And he was like, listen, you got to show your teammates that you have balls somehow. Like, find a way. So like 2 games later, one of my teammates got hit, like not necessarily from behind, but a little bit cheap. And I fought a guy and dropped the gloves. And I felt just so much better and like not necessarily tougher, but when you fight for the first time, it's certainly like it's not that, I could play fucking tougher, So I think for a guy like Miller, maybe it's somewhat of a, I could be a little bit more physical back there. Like, I think, for him, it just could be not a wake up call, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe he,
I just don't think I've met Keandre a couple of times when he was in college with the US, like just all coming up and coming through. And I just don't think that's his personality. Like, I don't foresee this changing anything for him. But again, no,
I'm not saying he's going to be a fighter. I'm just saying like little confidence.
No, I understand. I'm not really agreeing with you. I don't agree with you that this is going to change anything for him. So all I'm saying is phenomenal entertainment, great for the fans. Again, they took I saw someone put in the chat, I don't know who, but I agree. Like, they really took the second period off. Again, thank God they won. But at the end of the day, I got 2 more points I want to circle back to. Okay. First of all, this is Peter Laviolette running over to the glass and yelling at Travis Green. Okay. To me, was very performative. And I'm going to just tell you why. I'm going to tell you why that was performative. This whole thing was all Peter Laviolette's doing, the entire thing, because he wouldn't let Rempe fight McDermott last time they played the Devils. Okay. I think everybody that was made clear that he was basically couldn't fight that night because he couldn't get the green light from his coach. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. I know where you're going with this, and I already agree with the whole thing, I think.
So then the way NHL lineups are done in and actually this isn't just in the NHL, this is juniors all the way up through. The visiting team submits their lineup about 30 minutes before the game, right after warmups. Okay. An off-ice official goes to the locker room. There's still a lineup card that a coach has to fill out and hand it to the off-ice official. The away team gives it first. And then that off-ice official goes to the home locker room to the head coach of the home team and says, we need your lineup. So Peter Laviolette has a chance to look at the lineup, see who's starting, and then decides, I'm going to put Matt Rempe out there knowing this is going to be a circus. So seeing Laviolette yelling at Travis Green over at the wall and then acting like he had no idea this could potentially happen.
Yeah.
I'm not buying even 1 second of that bullshit from Peter Laviolette. You've been around long
I don't think
enough.
he saw the 5-on-5 coming. Come on.
You know exactly what you were doing. You could have diffused this entire situation by starting a different line and then letting Rempe and McDermott meet up 10 minutes into the first period. Okay. So instead, you throw that line out there, melees ensues, and then you put your team in a very shorthanded situation in a game that's meaningless for the Devils and meaningful for your team. And again, it worked. It did. So maybe he knows what he's doing in this situation, but it was very lucky to me. It was because the Rangers basically made some big plays at the end of the game in order to get themselves through on a soft penalty. I thought it was a soft call, but hey, that's the game. That's the game. Yeah. So all I'm saying is highly entertaining. I like, listen, I love when Jimmy Vesey's gloves come off, and like, I'm a big Jimmy Vesey fan. He's a friend. I know how tough he is. I just
there's
love
no way. There's no way Laviolette expected him to fight off the opening draw. There's no way.
See, I disagree. Like this is a South Boston kid who grew up fighting literally in school and the playground. Like Vise has a very tough background. You know anything about his dad? Big tough guy. Like, so I'm just saying, there's going to be fireworks by doing that. So I just think that Peter Laviolette is full of shit when he pretends like he's angry about this and he's acting like, what did I do? Why did this happen? Like, you knew exactly what was going to fucking happen, Lavi. So don't try that shit.
But that was the funniest thing about Travis Green's comments. He's like, I don't know what Peter was so mad about. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was pretty funny if you saw Travis Green's side. But also, Kobe, by the way, I do agree. Like Laviolette, I don't think he would have guessed it would have been 5-on-5. My guess would have been like, Trouba goes, Rempe goes, and maybe Gaudreau. Because Vesey hasn't really dropped the gloves much in his NHL career. I know you said he has a tough background, and I have a good friend.
I've seen him drop his gloves not in a hockey game before.
I've heard a lot of stories about him
at a wedding. I watched him beat the shit out of someone. Yeah, I'm not gonna say who because he plays in the league still, but it was one-sided, and this guy was a hell of a lot bigger than him.
But also, I don't know if you caught what could be one of the biggest backpedals of all time. Curtis McDermott after the game said, all of a sudden, I'm always going to have a ton of respect for Rempe. He's a kid just trying to figure it out, all that stuff. After shredding him the last time he wouldn't fight. Like, I get you can say, like, now I've, that kid's earned my respect, but don't say I've always respected him. Like you literally said a month ago, I lost a lot of respect for that kid tonight. He didn't go.
But I don't mind McDermott. Like,
no, he should give his flowers.
I'm saying I don't mind a couple of weeks ago when Rempe wouldn't fight. I don't mind him, giving quotes and talking shit. Like, I think that's great.
But then last night to say I've always respected him.
Well, but listen, I think well, first off, I think McDermott got the better of him in the fight. So I think it's easy. I think it's easy for McDermott to say that. And I just think that once they're these really heavyweight guys, I think once you do fight one of them, I think you do gain a shitload of respect from guys. Look, we're going to have Bobby Robbins, who fought in the American League and for the Bruins, on our show on Tuesday. And we can go more into this fighting respect topic with him because he was a scary motherfucker heavyweight. He just had a book come out. So he's going to come on the show on Tuesday and talk about the book. But, I don't, that whole quote thing or backpedal thing, it didn't bother me as much. It really didn't. But let me just ask you one final question here.
Yeah.
And I want you to try to be as objective as you can. Okay. Yeah. Try to be and this is coming from someone who was sitting in front of my couch, literally cheering, entertained at the television. Holy shit. I'm literally telling my wife, you got to come see this. You got to come see this. Is Matt Rempe a fucking sideshow? Is he a circus? I mean, come on.
Against the Devils, he is.
I mean, it's turning into kind of a circus. We have this cool graphic that we're trying to get in for you guys right now to show you It's not working, Vic. So maybe we got it. There it
There you
is.
go. There it
You
is.
see Matt Rempe versus the Devils. He's played what, 3 times against them?
3 times, ejected
5
all
minutes
3.
of total ice time, 47
Yeah.
PIMs and 3 ejections. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, to the people that are sitting here telling me he should play in the playoffs, like, I mean, they're not playing the Devils in the playoffs. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I mean, against the Devils, you just think back, first game against the Devils, the bash and hit on like his second shift. Then the next time the elbow to Siegenthaler's head. It also, here's my question too. It is a rivalry at the end of the day, right? So he's getting up for that against the Devils. It's not like he gets ejected. He's only been ejected against the Devils. He hasn't been ejected against any other team.
I mean, he's only played 13 games, 14
well, yeah,
games.
But 3 of those are against the Devils. But
his percentage of games played versus ejections is not
those numbers are alarmingly crazy against the Devils. But I wanted to ask you, like, and you don't have to go too deep into it, but thinking back to the last 30 years, so 1994, that Ranger Devil Eastern Conference Final, is there a better rivalry over the 30 years, like just in that window, than Rangers Devils? I think they've had 6 playoff series.
Well, I mean, Avs Red Wings was pretty good in the West for a long time.
But has it been that in the last?
Well, but as
10
Rangers
years?
Devils, the last like 7 or 8,
2012 conference final, last year's series. I mean, there was a little 5-year hiatus of it, but
yeah, I mean, look, I think maybe as of late, because the Red Wings were bad and the Avs went through a rebuild, but the Devils had a lot of bad years where they went through a rebuild. The Rangers have probably been the most consistent of those teams, but because the Rangers rebuild wasn't that bad. Like they were 10 games over 500 for David Quinn's 3 years. They were 10 games over 500. Like people forget that. People want to shit on him, but this guy in a rebuild was 10 games over 500. Like ask Luke Richardson how he feels about that.
Penguins Caps is probably a better one. Penguins Caps. Who just wrote that in the chat? J Rock. Yeah, I would say Penguins Caps is probably good. Battle of Alberta is another good one, but we've only seen one playoff series really in the Battle of Alberta in the last. I mean, I can't think back to 30 years ago with those 2 teams, but Pens Caps is definitely a good one. And speaking of that, those 2 teams play tonight, and that's going to be electric. Crosby and Ovechkin. So, do you want to move on to the next topic? Any final thoughts on this whole line brawl?
I'll give your guys some cookies. I don't know if I said this. I thought Lafreniere was their best forward last night.
You did, but you can say it again. You can say it again.
I did think he was their best forward last night. That play Jack Hughes made, where he made that play up by the blue line and then who did he give the one-timer goal to? Was it the first goal the Devils scored?
Palat. I think Palat.
Oh my God. When that kid throws a little when that kid throws a little skill and a little flash, or the pass, Lindgren got a little lost on that play Mercer made where he was in front of the net. And then I also thought, oh no, you know what? That was the late game. I was going to make a point from the late game, something Eddie Olczyk showed on the TNT broadcast. That was pretty interesting, but it's irrelevant because it was from the late game. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I just think that this whole Matt Rempe thing is super entertaining for fans, but I look at the situations that he's putting his team in now, game in and game out, and I just, I think it's a little concerning. I really do, because these aren't, you're not putting your team in good situations with your I don't want to call them antics, because it's the kid is entertaining. I like it. I like what he does, but they're antics, right? You're fucking your team at times here.
Yeah. Let's move on though. And I know Ryan Reeves and Tanner Jeannot had a pretty good scrap last night.
That was a big boy game. That was a big boy fight. I mean, that was the fight of the night. It really was, objectively speaking.
The theatrics were perfect.
Revo right absolutely pumped Jeannot. I mean, look, I know Jeannot is a big, heavy guy, but I don't think Jeannot is in the weight class to fight Ryan Reeves. So I give Jeannot credit for having the balls to fight Revo.
But also, why is he fighting there up 3-1 in the third period?
Well, Revo's trying.
I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if anything happened. But
yeah, no, he's trying to get his team in the game. Some people felt like Vic didn't feel like the Leafs played that bad. I thought they had some pretty bad breakdowns. I thought their D zone just continues to be a little leaky. So I just don't think they're a real considerable playoff team, but that was a big boy fight. Like those punches that Ryan Reaves threw, those are like Mike Tyson level punches. Like they're mean and powerful punches. But listen, hockey's back, man. I mean, it's so great to see the hatred back in the game. I mean, it makes me laugh so hard to see all these people, like these writers, mostly writers. Oh, like I'm not. Like Molly Walker tweeted, like, this is so beautiful. And I I'm 100% with Molly Walker on that. And then there was so much like hatred coming from other people being like, this isn't beautiful. I'm not going to, perpetuate this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh my God, like seriously, like if you don't like it, like, I mean, like, I don't go watch. What's the sport with the horses and where they hit the ball? Cricket or polo. Go watch polo. Go watch cricket. Go watch baseball. Like, fuck you. If you're gonna complain about it, fuck off.
In what other sport can you just get angry and beat the living shit out of somebody?
Hall of Famer Henrik Lundqvist was in the TNT
that
studio,
was amazing.
losing his mind. Like Colby Armstrong is like cheering at the TV. Like, what else do you need to know? And every former player and every current player is on their feet loving it. And then here comes the soy latte writer with his like, oh, this is so bad for the game. Like, just go drink your soy latte.
And
like,
let's not act like this happens every night, like this is once in a blue moon line brawl, the center ice theatrical scrap,
New York Marine with a great comment in the chat.
What'd he say? This is just good shit.
People who don't enjoy fighting should go back to the locker they were stuffed in as a kid.
All right, but
I 100% agree with you, New York Marine. I 100%. Now they go to their coffee shop and they drink their matcha latte. That's what they do now.
Let's get into our Parasso playoff preview, presented by Parasso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Parasso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations. So get 15% off at Parasso-USA.com with promo code Hockey15. That's all caps Hockey15 at Parasso-USA.com. The Rangers are now 3 up on Boston in the East, 5 up on Carolina for that President's Trophy. But the Dallas Stars also in the West. They've won 8 games in a row. They shit pumped Edmonton last night, scoring 4 goals in like a 5-minute span.
Yeah, I watched that game.
I watched that game too. Dallas looked unbelievable. Jake Ottinger was incredible.
Shout outs back to back.
And their top line didn't even score. That's how deep they are. Dallas I don't even think they have a 30-goal scorer on their roster this year, which is insane.
No, I think what's his name got 30 last night. Did Johnston get his 30th last night?
If I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but I
think he might have got his 30th last night.
Let me just check quick. Yeah, you're right. Wyatt Johnson got his 30th.
Neil saying, are the Stars the best team in the league? I mean,
now,
they dismantled Edmonton last night. I mean, Darnell Nurse was absolutely horrible in that game. He has that one pinch where he just gets eaten.
The 4-on-1.
And then on the power play goal, he's covering absolutely no one. Thought Eddie Olczyk did an awesome job with the telestrator, showing how, as that weak side net front defenseman, your stick is to the middle, but if your head's not on a swivel, there's nobody there. He's already climbed behind you, so you've got to change your angle there. It's just bad awareness. I thought that I thought that the puck movement and just the constant pressure from Dallas, like they're so good at puck possession on a rush. They just they don't give the puck up easily at all. And then when they do give it up, their forecheck is relentless. Like, the way Pavelski still gets in on the forecheck at his age is incredible. Like, they're scary right now. They're scary.
They also have 7 20-goal scorers, and Jamie Benn has 19. So they're going to have at least, 8 20-goal scorers. Thomas Harley has 15. This team is as deep as it gets for sure. But I think I was talking to Evan Sporer yesterday at Bleacher Report, Beer Open Ice, and he was saying when a team is this deep and doesn't have like that one go-to goal scorer right now, is it more beneficial, or do you need that guy that can single-handedly take over?
Well,
I think obviously
we've said this about Carolina for years. I mean, it's kind
but they haven't had 7 or 8 20-goal scorers.
Here's what really stuck out to me last night. Tyler Seguin He scored a goal last night on a beautiful feed. I don't remember who gave it to him, but they're
On the
killing a
goal line, right?
penalty.
Like
I think they're
backdoor
up.
shot.
I think they're up 1-0 or 2-0 at this point. They're killing a penalty. Bouchard gets fed a perfect one-timer, like from probably the top of the circle on the left flank, right? The left circle. Seguin stands in there and blocks the Bouchard one-timer, right?
Mhm.
And then I'm pretty sure he scores. The Dallas Stars score. Wyatt Johnson gets out of the box and they go down and they make a play and
Yeah.
Johnson scores, right? Johnson.
Yeah, that was also after Marchment like basically told the refs it wasn't me, and they sent Johnson to the box.
It was Johnson, and Johnson's a penalty killer, which is funny.
Yeah.
But like the fact that Tyler Seguin, like I was with Tyler when he was a rookie for his first 2 training camps, like before he got traded to, and there weren't a lot of young guys around. Like even in the playoffs, in the 2011 playoffs, Tyler didn't play every night. In the beginning of the playoffs, he was actually on the outside looking in. It really wasn't until Nathan Horton, he got in pretty early.
He came in that first round against the Caps.
No. He got in again. His big moment in the playoffs was against Tampa in the conference finals.
Yeah.
And he scored 2 goals, and he obviously never came out after that. But I got to spend a lot of time with him as an 18-year-old kid, right? I was probably 21 at the time, and I had been in college. Like, this was probably a little more mature. But like we're talking about, a very low level of maturity for both of us. And I was just like, holy shit, this kid has a long way to go. Like he had a long way to go at that point. And seeing the way he's playing now, he's turned into a 200-foot player who kills penalties. And like when you see Tyler Seguin eating a Bouchard one-timer, which is one of the hardest 2 or 3 in the league, that's a good sign for your team. Like coaches see that, players on the bench will see Seguin eat that. And then if you're Robertson, you're like, holy shit, Tyler's been here for how long and he's doing it? Like if Ziggy's doing it, I got to do it. And then Johnston sees those guys do it and he's like, well, if those guys are doing it, I got to do it. Like that's playoff type of shit right there that grows inside your locker room. So I haven't given Dallas enough respect this year. I've never put them in the power rankings.
I don't think anyone has.
It's reluctantly. Now, Frank Saravalli, to give him his props, has Dallas winning the cup from preseason. And he's never flinched. That looks good right now. As it stands, teams going into the playoffs at their peak, that team is at their peak. Like if they continue this, holy shit, they come at you in a lot of waves and they're going to be difficult to beat.
Would you say they remind you of Florida a bit? Maybe with a little less bite, like the Kachucks, the Bennetts, the Cousins, they mix it up a little bit, after the whistles and whatnot. But that's that similar gritty mix of skill.
Yeah. And Jamie Benn's tough. Like Jamie Benn is one of the toughest guys in the NHL. Like I have no problem saying that. He's one of the toughest and strongest players in the league. Without a doubt. He's fearless. He's a fearless guy. I've played against him before. I know him, like we have some mutual friends off the ice. He would, he's not a guy that I would be willing to take a chance with because I would probably end up, with a breathing machine for a week. Like he's a tough son of a bitch.
And I said it, I think, a couple weeks ago on the show about like Vegas and Dallas in that series. We were talking about Ryan Suter. If Dallas holds on to that game 2 lead against Vegas, like who knows what happens there, right? I think it was Marchessault who tied the game late in game 2. Ryan Suter caught puck watching, and Vegas goes on to win it in overtime, takes a 2-0 lead back to Dallas, and it's a different series. But if Dallas holds on, goes back home 1-1, you never know how that changes.
Well, Pete DeBoer is such a good coach. In 2001, Lex DeLioness, I don't know what that says because my glasses are fucking me up here. I can see you, but I can't see my phone as well. But
I see that.
You gotta give props to Pete DeBoer. He wins everywhere he goes.
Jeremiah said Frank had them as a cup champion too.
Yeah, I told you Frank had them as a cup champion. Yeah. So it's funny. Pete DeBoer was the coach of the Kitchener Rangers, Johnny, when I was probably like 15 heading into the OHL draft year or whatever. That was one of 2 OHL places that I went and visited, did like an official visit, was Kitchener and Plymouth, the Plymouth Whalers. They don't exist anymore. So when I was like 15, we went to a Rangers game, Kitchener. We met with Pete DeBoer and Steve Spott, who's still with him on the bench now. Steve Spott's kid played at Northeastern the last couple of years. He was a college hockey player, but I almost went and played for him. I almost didn't do the college route, went to juniors, went to Kitchener, but Pete DeBoer wanted me to be a forward. He was like, you're not a defenseman, you're a forward. If you come here, you're going to play left wing. So like, and now I laugh about it with him whenever I see it. I'm like, thank God I didn't come there. My career ended a lot shorter than we all thought. So I saved you the headaches, buddy. But He is a phenomenal coach.
So that playoff preview is brought to you by Peraso-USA. Remember, use our code hockey15 at Peraso-USA.com and get 15% off. But let's move on to the next one. We actually have a new sponsor that we're going to debut today, and that is Out West. And we're going to call this the Out West Worst Team of the Week. And we're talking about the Philadelphia Flyers, but the worst team of the week presented by the best and coming active wear brand in the game, Out West. Ready to elevate your style this spring? Introducing Out West, your go-to active wear line for athletes or everyday guys. Crafted with quality in mind and priced for the guy not looking to break the bank to upgrade his wardrobe. Out West polos, hoodies, and quarter zips blend comfort and performance seamlessly, so ensuring you look and feel your best as you take on the day. Head on over to outwestgolf.com and use code CUPPA, that's CUPPA, all caps, to get 15% off of your first order. I've worn Out West on the show before. We're going to wear it every Thursday. You'll see us rocking it next week. Tough to pack it in the bag this week, but what do you got smiling over there?
I have not gotten a chance. They sent us a big package of gear, but Johnny is hoarding. Johnny is hoarding it right now and not sending it to me. But he did send me a couple of pictures. The stuff looks cool. You know me, I'm a big hoodie guy, and they sent a couple of hoodies for me. So we'll definitely be rocking that as we move on through, and we'll have Vic drop the website for Out West in the chat for those of you who are curious about it. But
comfiest shit I've ever worn.
Look, make sure you guys check out West. Make sure you guys check out all these partners of ours. They're the ones who pay for all this type of stuff that we do. The more attention we bring to them, the more resources they put into our show, the more we can do live shows, and the more we can travel, and the more we can upgrade our software and this and that. So make sure you check those guys out. The link is in the chat. Vic just dropped it in there, and give those guys a try for sure.
And this week's Out West Worst Team of the Week is none other than the Philadelphia Flyers, who have dropped 5 in a row and now are – Colby, you said it every week. Your concern with them is getting more and more as the days goes on here for the playoffs. But John Tortorella, I don't know if anyone watched it. It was about a 16-minute press conference yesterday. Colby was giving me shit because I put in our group chat like, oh, my God, I love Torch. This was fucking awesome. But he went off, and I don't want to speak for him. We have a clip ready here. So, Vic, tee it up, and let's hear what Torch had to say yesterday.
I'm going to quit on him. It follows me around. And so be it. If a player's going to quit on me, or players are going to quit on me because I'm trying to make them better people and better athletes, you got the wrong damn coach here, and you got the wrong damn people here. So I'm not sure what goes on. My job is I am going to push athletes, and I try to stay away from I have other things on my mind that I don't give you. I was in control the other night. What I said I meant, and quite honestly, when I watch the tape now, I'm more concerned than just the second period, because I'm so proud of the team getting here. And I guess now the narrative out there is, because I've heard from other people, that they're young, they're not supposed to be here. Bullshit. We're here. We're here. Face it. And let's be better. And I don't think we're ready to be better.
Look, I think Torts, I think Torts has struck a lot of the right notes for the market that he's in. I think he's definitely trying to inspire his team after kind of shitting on them after the game the other night. I do think that that's what he's trying to do. I think that message was more to his team than to the media or to the fans, because I don't really think he cares too much about those two parties. Now, I think he cares about the fans. I shouldn't say that, but he doesn't give a shit about the media. So look, this team is in one bad right now. They've lost the 5 in a row. They lost to Chicago and Montreal. You know, they've got,
Snuck
Fedotov
away with a point against the Islanders.
Liam McHugh called him Fedotov last night on TNT. We're going Fedotov. I don't care what they're saying on the Flyers broadcast, Fedotov. We're going Fedotov on this show. Just rolls off the tongue better. I got enough names in my head that I'm trying to prepare for with the Frozen Four. Trying to say Aaron Manetian in real time from Boston College has given me enough problems that I'm not saying Fedotov.
I'm gonna call him Fetty Wap.
This team, man, they've lost like 9 in a row within their division. They're trying to give it away. Look, they're all trying to give it away. There isn't one team right now at the bottom of the Metro that's inspiring you. You know, the Islanders, they almost get the 2 points without the Flyers getting a point the other night, but they still give up the point to them so that they only get the 1 point spread. Like the Devils, forget it. They're just
Penguins,
they're lifeless. I hear you. They're the only
Penguins.
ones playing well right now. But again, is it because they're playing with house money? We talk about this week in and week out. Like it's house money play. It's no pressure play, right? You have nothing to lose. It's different than when you're gripping on for a spot. So now that the Penguins can smell it again, let's see how they perform over the next 3 games. Okay. Prove me wrong. I mean, listen, I'm never betting against Sidney Crosby in anything, but prove me wrong, right? Like, let's see you do it when the pressure gets turned up.
4-0-2 in their last 6. Sidney Crosby has 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points in his last 6 games. The guy is on fucking fire. And the Penguins, they're the big matchup tonight, right? Penguins versus Capitals. You want to move on to the next segment here? I know we're going a little bit short on time today. It's not gonna be as long as yesterday. Yesterday's show was like an hour and a half.
We'll answer a couple of questions in the chat. First off, I saw one. I hardly recognized Colby in his glasses. I have a sick 1-year-old.
About you
for anybody who is a parent, when you have a sick 1-year-old with like 104 temperature, you know what that's like. So it was a late night in our house. That's why I'm a little thrown off today. I didn't get the contacts in. Next thing, Johnny, is Johnny wearing a trench coat? Not a trench coat. It's a stylish State and Liberty jacket, but we're not going to talk too much about them because they're not a sponsor. If they want to sponsor us, we'll talk more about them. Here's the other question, Johnny. Someone threw in there, how we feeling? Boys, who's going to win the Hobie Baker? Who's your Hobie pick, Johnny? Give me your top 3 Hobies and give me them in an order.
I'm saying Cutter Gauthier 1. Basically scoring at a goal a game pace in college hockey is insane. What's he at? 35?
I think he has 37.
He has 37?
I think he has 37. But go ahead. Number 2.
Yeah. So Cutter's 1. Number 2, I'm going to say, man, it's hard to think like outside of BC. Honestly, those kids lit it up. Maybe Macklin too. I think he just had, I'm not taking talent away from BU, but maybe less talent around him. And he's a 17-year-old kid to do what he did this year. I think is insanely impressive.
Fourth best player on his team, Cutter Gauthier.
Cutter?
That's Chris. I gotta tell you, you're not right. Cutter Gauthier is the best player on Boston College, and it's not close. Smith, Perreault, and Leonard are stars, but it's not that close. Like Cutter Gauthier and Macklin Celebrini are a whole league above the other 3 freshmen at BC. Like, just watch how they did in the playoffs this weekend. Like, look how quiet Smith and Perreault were. I thought Ryan Leonard answered the bell, but man, Smith and Perreault couldn't have been quieter in those games. Couldn't have been quieter.
And just going outside, I only watched North Dakota play like twice this year, but at Jackson Blake, I mean, I would maybe put him at 3. You probably know more about this than I do.
I think that's a reasonable ballot. Look, I'm on the committee, so I already submitted my ballot. And I'm not going to tell you who I had number 3, but I'll tell you I had Celebrini 1, Cutter Gauthier 2. And I had them tied going into the weekend, but the impact that I felt Celebrini had on his team was bigger than the impact. Like, I thought Gauthier scored this weekend, but I didn't think he fully dominated the games, right? I just thought, like, BC's by far been the best team the entire season, and like, I still think it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them, but I didn't love how they played in either game. I didn't love how they played in either game.
Anyone who knows Colby Cohen is not surprised that he has the BU guy as his number one Hobie Baker finalist.
Well, I mean, I watch a lot of college hockey, and I could just
I
tell
know.
you there's nobody better outside of the NHL than probably those two players.
I just got to give you shit. I got to give you shit.
Gauthier. And here's where you've got Celebrini playing on a line with Shane LaChance and Jack Harvey, okay, who nobody has any idea who they are, okay? The other guys, where they get all their points, you got a power play with 4 first-round picks on it, okay? 4 first-round picks, stars. So that, to me, is why Celebrini, who, in my opinion, put an entire group of forwards on his back as a 17-year-old, is the best player in college hockey. You can call me biased. That's fine. I got no problem with that.
Did I not just say the same thing? I said the same thing just now.
I just, when I look at who Cutter had versus I look at who Macklin had, Macklin literally carried a team as a 17-year-old. Cutter, who is the best goal scorer in college hockey, he didn't have to do that. But to me, it's a coin flip between those two. And on the Hobie Baker call that we had the other day before we submitted our ballots, to me, I heard a coin flip. It was very split down the middle. Yeah. And we, as the committee, take the 10 and we pick the Hobie Baker. That's how it works. So I don't know who won, but that's how my ballot was filled out. So I know you want to move into
let's on to Betway.
Let's get to our Betway bet of the day. We love our Betway bet of the day. We hit our Betway bet of the day, and we're still offering this great promotion from Betway. It's a $200 free bet, okay? If you lose, up to $200, all right? You scan the QR code on the screen, you create an account. The minute you create that account and you bet, if you lose, it'll come right back to you immediately. So you don't have to wait 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. You can bet right away that evening. Try to make your money back. Please bet responsibly. The offer is available only outside of Ontario. Make sure you get in on the action. Again, we got a lot of people in our chat that like to bet. We got a lot of people in our chat that like to be heard. Our Betway bet of the day is from Howie Phelan, and he likes Washington Pitt at a draw of plus 310. Wow, that is juicy. Wait, let me understand this though really quickly, because I am certainly not a betting expert. Does that mean the game's going to get to overtime? Because you can't tie in hockey, so that just means
it's regulation.
Regulation, they're going to get to overtime.
Yep,
got it. I mean, that's pretty good plus money. I don't think Jeremiah will like that, because I don't think he wants to see the Caps going to overtime tonight. I think he wants 2 points.
I think he'll take a point, though.
I think he wants Pittsburgh to get no points. But this is a big one. So I like the fact that we've got action in on that game. I think that's important. It'll keep everybody engaged. So let's see here. I'm just looking at some of the chat here to see if there's anything that we missed in our last like 2 or 3 minutes of the show. We got someone who threw in Ryan. Look, we'll do some more college stuff next week. I'm going to the Frozen Four Tuesday. I'm thinking Thursday of next week we do like a Frozen Four preview. Obviously, we'll do a short one. Thursday. So we'll save some of this stuff, but I see the name Nazar in there. Look, Nazar's not even in the conversation for Hobie. I mean, huge play. He's had a good season. I'm looking forward to getting him up close and personal at the Frozen Four, because I'll be between the benches. So I'll really get to see him close up. Lane Hudson played his best hockey of the weekend in the regional. I do think he could find his way into the Hobie hat trick, although I think it'll be tough to have 3 players from the East in the final. Although my sophomore year in college, our team had 2 of the 3 finalists for the hat trick, Matt Gilroy and Colin Wilson. And the third guy was a goalie from Northeastern named Brad Thiessen. So there were 3 guys from Com Ave basically in the Hobie hat trick that year. Let's see here. What else? What do you think about the games tonight, Johnny? I know you could go see the Islanders in Columbus for $5. You could get the get-in price there for that snooze fest is going to be $5. Who else are you watching tonight, Johnny? I know I'm watching probably to see the Boston Carolina game. That's probably the one where I'm going to be most dialed in on.
I would say for me, it's the Islanders Columbus. Islanders, if Washington doesn't get a point, the Islanders can jump them in the playoffs here. So Big game for the Islanders in Columbus. And then looking at Tampa on the second night of a back-to-back again, they're playing Montreal, and they can come within 2 points of Toronto here. So a lot of implications in the Eastern Conference. I know St. Louis plays Nashville, but seems like St. Louis is pretty much done after LA had another big win last night at home against Seattle. So the Western Conference seems to be, those 8 teams are set from what it looks like. We'll see how the seeding works out over the next 10, 15 days or so. But all the focus for me really right now is on the East and that second wild card spot. So I'll watch the Islanders, I'll watch the Capitals and Penguins, and hopefully I'm home in time because I'm probably leaving Boston around 1 o'clock. It took me fucking 6 hours to get here yesterday. So we'll see if I'm on my couch.
Do you use Waze?
Yeah,
use Waze? Okay, yeah. I mean, because you have to go into Brooklyn.
Dude, it was downpouring yesterday.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, going home today, I'm trying to think of the best way for you. You probably want to take the Merritt, jump on the Merritt Parkway. That's probably your safest bet. And then you can cut over to 287. Put it in Waze, but look for the Merritt Parkway today. Do you not know? You don't know? See,
that's going right through my head.
Because I went to school in Boston. So the routes from basically Boston to Philly, which goes through New York, I know 5,000 different ways to go, but I always have good luck with the Merritt Parkway. So keep that in mind today, bud. Stick with me. I know what's up with that drive.
I didn't have a car when I was at UMass, so I was lucky my dad would just drive me up and back. What a fucking gem that guy is.
Quickly tell everybody what you're going to do right now, and then we'll end the show because I know you got to run.
Yeah, so for the people that don't know that I do this content series with BR Open Ice, I do this thing called Open Skate where I do a lap around the ice with a player, ask him kind of fun, light questions for 45 seconds to a minute. I'm doing laps today. I'm going to BC's practice right now. I'm going to skate with Leonard, Smith, and Perot separately. So 3 separate little fun interviews. It'll be funny. I'm actually going to give Drew Fortescue shit because I DM'd him last night and asked for a funny thing about each guy, and he left me on red. And we've talked a little bit, but I'm gonna give him shit when I see him.
He left you on red?
Left me on red. Yeah, I'm gonna give him shit.
Are you gonna get comfortable in the locker room and sit in someone's stall like you do at the
I'm
Rangers?
not going in the locker room. I'm just gonna be on the bench watching and hanging out.
Well, look, from what I saw talking to those guys last weekend, Ryan Leonard will be by far your best interview.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, he'll have way more fun. You should give them shit. Give Perot shit for that phantom high stick that he He took a phantom high stick, so give him a hard time and tell your boy Leonard, be like, dude, you're way too good to be flopping. He's too good.
Okay, so just ask them all negative questions. That's what I should do.
and the flopping, all right? Because if they do it at the Frozen Four, I'm calling them out every time. I think I took it easy on them in the regionals. If they flop in the Frozen Four, we're gonna show replays of the flops.
All right, so the first question. Hey, Ryan, great to be here with you. Colby Cohen thinks you flop a lot. What are your thoughts on that? I'm sure.
No, you can tell him. Colby says you're a star and you're big time, but enough with the flopping. We don't need that shit, all right? You're too good for that.
I got to go. Great week of shows. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thanks to our producer, Vic. We'll talk to you guys on Monday at 9 a.m. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'm curious to see what the playoff picture looks like come Monday morning. So talk to you guys soon. Thank you, and Colby, we'll talk soon too. Later.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.